Welcome back. General David Petraeus, he kept the details of his extramarital affair with his biographer, Paula Broadwell, private as long as it stayed that way. But that has not stopped the investigation from obviously widening. Let me bring in our senior political correspondent, Andrew Whitman, been following the developments. I call it a telenovela, Andrew. That's being polite. This thing's going off the rails.
Yeah, like sands through the hourglass. It's the latest on Petraeus. Nice. It's anything but private at this point. In fact, it's turned what was supposed to be a celebratory week for the president into a week of damage control.
We are safer because of the work that Dave Petraeus has done. And my main hope right now is that he and his family are able to move on.
The president weighed in for the first time today on the sex scandal that's captured the nation's attention and forced David Petraeus to resign as director of the CIA after admitting to an affair with his biographer, Paula Broadwell.
I have no evidence at this point, from what I've seen, that classified information was disclosed that in any way would have had a negative impact on our national security.
Another respected four-star general caught up in the scandal got a vote of confidence from the Secretary of Defense. John Allen is accused of exchanging potentially inappropriate emails with Tampa socialite Jill Kelly, who sparked the Petraeus investigation.
He certainly has my continued confidence to lead our forces.
But the military didn't pull punches with Kelly while she's under investigation, revoking her special access to MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, where she was allowed to walk around without a military escort. And overnight, Broadwell was seen sipping a glass of wine. The reserve intelligence officer is suspected of storing significant amounts of confidential material at her home. She could face prosecution. This afternoon on Capitol Hill, FBI Director Robert Mueller briefed members of the intelligence committees. He's not saying what they talked about.
No comment.
And the president said this afternoon he hopes that the affair will end up being just a blimp on the otherwise exemplary career of David Petraeus.
Rich? I think you meant to say blip, not blimp,
yeah,
right?
It's going to one or the other. It's almost the same at this point.
All right, let's bring in our panel on this. Nick Garb is Democratic pollster, Senior Vice President at the Global Strategy Group. He was happy last Tuesday. Dominic Carter, political journalist and author. He pretends to be indifferent to the totals. Tom Doherty, Republican strategist, former advisor to Governor George Pataki, and a partner in Mercury. He makes no secret he was not happy last Tuesday. And Andrew, who you've already heard from. All right. There's a lot of different ways to go down with this scandal here, but I'll start with you, Nick. Are you surprised, not that it's garnered this much attention, but how much political capital is the president going to have to, if not spend on this, waste in terms of a calendar dealing with this issue? Is this going to be dealt with, you know, the intelligence committees from the House and the Senate? It'll be settled there, or is this going to keep coming up and up and up?
Well, I'm certainly not surprised that this has captured the attention of Washington D.C. because they love a good sex scandal more than anything else. But I don't know. There are a lot of heavy-duty issues that are coming up on the political calendar, including negotiations over the fiscal cliff. So to me, this is a little bit of a sideshow on that for the president. I'm sure he's disappointed that he's spending the week after the election talking about this instead of talking about issues. But ultimately, Petraeus is a little bit of an apolitical figure. He's not. He is Obama's CIA director. He was considered
a Republican potential candidate at one point.
I don't feel like it's a stain on the president, and I just feel like it's a sideshow to what he's trying to do this week.
You know, for me, Dominic, the real story is going to be for all the screwing around these guys are doing, and apparently Tampa's a hot place, all right? But at the end of the day, the twerp at the FBI who decided not only is he going to take it upon himself when he was told to stand down to reach out to certain members of Congress here, but a message has got to be sent. This guy's got to be disciplined in a big way. I mean, people are losing their jobs and careers. No one's going to see the inside of a cell, I don't think. But this guy's got to be made an example of.
Well, Richard, let's keep in mind that when the FBI went to the home and searched the home of the woman involved, there's already talk that she may face criminal charges because they found classified documents.
Although apparently none of it is of such a classified level. They're saying second, third hand it's so bad.
But here's the problem. What's the connection between these socialites and the FBI and these generals, and you have but to answer your question, you have an FBI agent that on his own, who apparently has a crush on woman number 2, who decides that he's going to go to the cyber unit alone and spark an investigation.
Pick up the phone and call Cantor, a selected congressperson. Yeah.
He broke every protocol that there is, it appears, for an FBI agent. He's gone. He's done. And I don't know about a sideshow for the president. I think this is going to come directly to his doorstep eventually.
Well, Tom, Cantor had this stuff. Why didn't he do something with it a week and a half ago?
Well, the question really, I think, is a lot of this is just, sex scandals, et cetera, which is meaningless. But I think the question is going to be is who knew what and when did they know it? Because clearly the FBI has been investigating this for some time now. And clearly Petraeus knew that this was being investigated. And so the question that I really have, and there's been nothing to show this, but you got to think that when he went and testified originally on Benghazi, he was thinking, okay, this is the talking points I've been given. It's going to be about some video, which clearly he knew it was not the case because he had commented that day to another senator, am I telling the whole story here or am I, doing the party line bit? Is that did he feel like if I just go along with this whole thing that, the sword is not going to fall on my head? Because I really think that Petraeus thought that he was not going to get axed over this. I think he thought that this was going to go away. Now, listen, that may just be...
Yeah, but you've extrapolated that maybe he sat on information here, hoping that he'd get a pass.
Yeah, I think there's an argument. Listen, there's certainly an argument that for the president to not know about this, or he has said that he did not know about this, I kind of find that hard to believe.
The cynical side is, I believe the president didn't know, but I have a hard time thinking Eric Holder didn't know. How the Justice Department didn't know that the FBI... They claim it never went up that far. That this followed protocols, that it stayed at basically the investigative level here, and they didn't find anything damning at this point.
You're telling me that the director of the FBI... No, I'm just saying that in the middle of a presidential campaign, the director of the FBI, the Secret Service intelligence, the CIA director is having an affair where we're questioning about what's going on, et cetera. Mueller did not tell his boss, and in turn, the Attorney General did not tell his boss. I really find that hard to believe. Again,
it will come out if they did.
And I don't think it has any bearing on the election at all. So I'm not ever going to say, oh, well, I think it was meaningless. But I think there are a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Andrew, real quickly, one other last question I hear people asking is, what's the FBI going through all the emails for? I kind of get it, but a lot of people are saying, where is the line that the FBI is empowered to go through people's personal information?
I don't know if they have greater license when you've got somebody in a high security position or when you've got somebody with a certain level of clearance. Obviously, the CIA director is sort of at the top of that list of people who have that clearance. But you would think it would require just more than a suspicion that, hey, somebody was fooling around with somebody else. Let's check through their emails.
But the military people are involved in this, and Allen's involved in this, and obviously his emails are fair game because the concern always is that somebody's being blackmailed. That somebody like an Allen would be, so that's why they're going to go through the email.
With them, apparently.
No, it didn't. It just led to it because Broadwell obviously was contacting this Kelly woman about the fact that she thought that Kelly was maybe, playing in a place that she shouldn't have played.
What a bunch of idiots with Gmail accounts sending Twitter photos. I mean, to me, the worst part is this is supposed to be our CIA director.
How much time, though? Nick was saying off the air, we were saying, how many emails could he's running the war in Afghanistan, and he is literally sending thousands upon thousands to some woman who's not even an employee of anything in a very flirtatious way from what the emails say.
Get a clue. All right, we're going to jump to a break. When we come back, we're going to dig into the latest controversy, and this was the headline that really came out of the press conference today over the woman on your screen, Susan Rice. Surprise headline out of the press conference earlier today. When pushed, the president said, if you got a problem with her, you got a problem with me. We're going to get into that after this.